Hello everyone, Formula Finds here. I'm just doing a top 10 of my oldest comics that I have in my collection for 2023. I say 2023 because I look to make another video next year and in the hopes that maybe I can add some other comics into this top 10 list. But if you guys know me, I'm not a super rich collector. I don't have anything extravagantly old, but it is my comics, and I plan on, continuing to collect and hoping to further get older comics. But anyways, this is my top 10 for 2023, so let's get into it. So here we go, and starting with number 10. And if you notice, it looks a little more out of focus than it was. I did that so you can actually see the comic a little clearer up front. But anyways, number 10, came out in January of 1951, and it is Fight Comics. And this is Fight Comics number 77. It's about a 1.5 grade, and it's the tiger girl who runs around with her little pet tigers. And the cool thing about these Fight Comics is the covers were super awesome. Like, all of them were really awesome. I think they did like 86 issues or something. Yeah, and they were all really cool. This is actually the only one that I have, and I hope to have more in the future, but that is number 10. Number 9, and the first one into the 40s. This one is October of 1949. And what do we have here? It is Jimmy Watelii, number 1. It's about a VG minus. And he was called the Cowboy Swordsman, and he was also an actor, or mostly an actor, and a songwriter and singer in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And he wasn't very popular. And the only song that I knew actually before getting in this comic, the song that he sang was "You Are My Sunshine." And that is 1949, and that is our number 9 oldest comic book. Moving to number 8, we go into June of 1949, and it is Looney Tunes and Marie Melodies, issue number 92. And this one is old, and it's I'm going to open it up really quick because I think it's got some considerable amount of tanning, but it is the 40s, and it is old. But it's cool. It's still Bugs Bunny, just as he looked yesterday. He hasn't changed much in 74 years. But that is number 8, and that is 1949. Moving on to number 7 is my other Looney Tunes number 88, and that is a VG copy that I got from my comic shop. And this one was actually graded as a VG, but I was very impressed with how it came out and how white it actually appeared, especially in retrospect to the other one that I just showed there. I mean, that's pretty strong right there. That's pretty cool. It's got a little bit of tanning, but not for something this old. And it really shows you just how different a book can age based on how it's taken care of, because these two books are within months of each other, and this one's in a lot cleaner shape. Color's brighter and everything, looks a lot nicer. And so yeah, that's number 7, and that is February of 1949. Moving on to number 6, we have Walt Disney's Donald Duck. This is a Dell 4-color. It's actually Dell number 199. If you guys aren't familiar with the 4 colors, they did like 1,300 issues from like 1942 to the early 60s. And they really did them on just about every character, every TV show, every movie, every children's book. They just had a lot of different, just whatever was in the news at the time, 4 color just seemed to make a comic book out of it. So this one, number 199, was Donald Duck, and it is about a 1.0, and it is October 1948. It's an old one. And that's number 6. And number 5, what do we have? The Lone Ranger number 5. This was September of 1948s. And well, this was a cool one. I'm gonna open this one up really quick, but this one was, I think, graded as a good plus, a 2.5, and it's got a little rip there, as you can see, but all in all, it's staples are intact. It's nothing extraordinarily. I mean, the last sleeve, or the last page, is a little about ready to come loose, but other than that, it's not in bad condition. And that is the number. I always like these Lone Ranger covers, they're pretty cool. The bright red was always awesome. And that's Lone Ranger number 5, and my 5th oldest comic. Moving on to number 4. I know the excitement's starting to build, but just hang in there, guys. Number 4, we have Walt Disney Comics, May of 1946. This is actually one of my favorite stories to actually read, and it's actually in pretty clean shape. I got it from my comic shop, and it was graded as a VG minus, a 3.5. And I thought my comic shop had decent deals for these Walt Disney books, and I bought this. And it wasn't super expensive, but it was more than I paid then for actually most of these other books. And I was very pleased with it as far as a 3.5 is concerned. It's nice, it's tacked really well. It's got some tanning, but nothing too terrible. No real serious rips, and it is tight as can be at the center there. And the stories were really good in this. You had several different stories. Little Bad Wolf, drawings were good, and yeah, I always really liked that cover, and I'm gonna always keep this book. And that is number 4. Still pretty white. And for number 3, this is the oldest book in the series that I have, and what is it? It is Looney Tunes number 44, June 1945. Good old Elmer Fudd, Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, and presents pretty well. It's a nice clean book. And so now we're actually in World War II territory, and during World War II they actually didn't do the 3 staples. This one actually has 2, if you can see. It's got one up here and it's got one down there. And a lot of the older books, they would actually have 1 staple in the center, and that was to save the metal for the war. So that gives you an idea of just how far back we're going. But this book is actually holding itself pretty good, and it's in pretty clean shape, and that is number 3 of my oldest books in this collection. And now for number 2, it's actually a series that I hope to get more of, but they aren't cheap, and as I think they're really cool. And this one's low grade, and what is it? Wings number 48, and this was August of 1944. So we're in the middle of World War II here, and they're writing comics about fighting the war. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, so Wings did comics, I think, from like 1940 to mid-50s or something, and they were part of the, I think it was called like the Big Six comics. You had Jumbo Comics, Wings Comics, you had the Fight Comics that you saw earlier, I think you had like Delta Comics and Planet Comics and Ranger Comics, and don't think there's a Delta Comics, but yeah, there's 6 of them, and these were the Wings Comics. They were cool. All these always had cool covers, and they're not cheap, and I got this low grade because I thought it was really cool, and I hope to collect some other ones, and hopefully ones that'll be older. But that is number 2 of my collection, 1944. And this is it, guys. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Try to stay calm in my presentation here, but this is number 1, my most expensive comic that I have in my collection. It is January of 1943. A little hint, the art and the cover is done by Chester Gould. What do we have? Super Comics. Yep, Super Comics 1956, or not 1956, issue number 56. That is the oldest comic that I have in my collection. And it is 80 years old. It is detached. The cover is actually detached completely, I believe. But you know what? It's still cool. And as you can see, the artwork back in the 40s was not a lot of detail. But you know what? They weren't bad at the time. And yep, it's an old book. And I'm not going to go through it because it might turn into dust in my hands. But it's cool. Got old Santa Claus in the back, the new funnies. And that's it. So that is my oldest comic. And sorry to say that's where I will end the video. And again, I will be making another video of this probably next year. And I will be looking to hopefully add some comics to this top 10 list. So thank you guys for watching, and talk to you guys soon.